Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fataris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fataris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this Saturday we have Barrage Fantasia, a new bullet hell shoot 'em up. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From developer Hanaji, Bullet Fantasia released for the PC and Nintendo Switch of March 2021, and especially if you're a fan of bullet hells or shoot 'em ups, this is one that I heartily recommend the taste of. I've had a lot of fun with this title so far, and that just has to do with how much depth and variety that this game has. So, with that out of the way, let's dive into the main menu. There are 3 modes you can potentially play the game in. The arcade mode, which is your full game experience. You play this from the beginning of the game all the way through to the end in one playthrough. You have the short, which takes the game and breaks it down into stage-by-stage increments. So you can focus on just one stage and practice getting better and better at a full version of that stage. Or you can break that down even further with training, which takes each section of the game and breaks it down into smaller and smaller segments. All really great ways to kind of work on improving your gameplay. And there's also kind of a cute little story that's not really touched upon that much. So let's dive into that just a little bit. Our story begins with these treasure hunters finding this golem with this red gem. And they think, red gem? Money! Cash! And of course, they steal it. And we play the role of Herb the Witch, who's trying to recover this gem. So normally after that cutscene, it drops you into the training part of the game, but rather than jump there, we'll just jump into the gameplay itself. So entering the arcade mode, we're taken to this selection screen, which allows you to select your servant or familiar. There's a lot of options here, and I'll do my best to kind of show off the ones that I happen to like personally. But you've got the rat, which is really basic. The crow, which, as I mentioned here, easy to handle and strong. There's another ability it doesn't have, but I'll get to that in just a moment. The bat, the dragon, the flower, the ghost, the arm, and the F range. So there's a lot of really fun options here, and I encourage you, if you pick up this game, to kind of play around with the different familiars and see which ones you like. Initially, we're going to start with Crow. After you select Crow, you're taken to your special select, and there's a lot of options here as well. There's the ability to take no special, which would be absolutely crazy. You don't want to go that route. But there's the Flash, which destroys bullets, the Bomber, the Hyper. This one's really fun. So this one increases the power of your shots. When you initially activate it, it wipes all the bullets from the screen, but when you deactivate it, which either happens when the power-up runs out or you choose to deactivate yourself, it will also wipe the bullets. Really useful. Void, averting the attack is a terrible translation. It basically just makes you invulnerable for a brief moment. The Buster, this is a powerful laser. The more bombs you have built up, the more powerful the charge. And the Doll, which is a turret that also blocks bullets. So initially, let's take the Hyper, because like I said, this is the one I really like. Then after you select your special, you're given what is referred to here as option, but a better way to look at it is this is your difficulty or challenge. So the game itself has a life system where every hit you take takes away a life. You run out of lives, game over. So you can pick the normal, which starts you with 5 bombs. They're rather 5 lives. Then there's the advanced with 3. Or you can make it super difficult with just 1 hit, that's it, game over, with the risky. There's the safety, this one's basically your easy one, where you start with 5 lives and a quicker life recovery, and then bomb plus extra bombs, or you can have just a maximum of 5 lives and no way to recover once you run out, that's it. So we're going to pick safety just for playing the game easy. So this one is a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up. First things first, let's talk a little bit about the movement. You have your normal movement, but there is focus movement, and as you can see, our hitbox is represented really well with a green dot in the middle of our witch Herb. So you can see you can move around with slow focus movement, and now let's talk about our shots. So there's the main shot, but when you're in focus movement, if you press the shot button, you'll actually get a power shot. And depending on which familiar you're using, that power shot itself will change quite a bit. So the crow kind of just joins up with you and helps deal additional damage straightforward, as well as having a little bit of a how to say, a backdraft that will attack enemies that might be coming from behind. The other ability that the crow has is if you happen to graze bullets, then you'll get additional hearts. And there are other ways to get hearts as well. So if you perform what's called an all break on a boss, that is destroying all the various parts of the boss. So the crab there had 3 parts in addition to the main body, the turret above its head and its 2 claws. Then you would get an all break bonus, and hopefully I can show that off against this boss at the end of the stage. So as we approach the end of the first stage, I'm also going to go and use some wonderful editing magic to kind of show off some of the other familiars. So now we're using the Ghost Familiar. The Ghost Familiar is a really exciting basically it's high risk, high reward. It has this really awesome sweeping shot, and when you use the power shot, it kind of has an effect kind of like the wind laser from Axlay, or that style of shot where it sweeps back behind you and then has a powerful shot moving forward. And I just love that style of a gameplay, especially if we activate and use the power of the hyper. You can see that our shots just become super powerful, fill up a lot of the screen, and deal some massive damage to the boss. Boss down. So now let's try to go for that all break that I was talking about. But I was mentioning that the ghost is high risk, high reward. The high risk part, it doubles the damage you take. So instead of taking 1 heart of damage when you get hit, you will take 2. Basically having the amount of lives you have saved up. So this boss itself is kind of fun. We destroyed the turrets on either side of her. So now she's sweeping through. We have to be careful in that sweep, because if you get caught too far forward, then you're definitely going to take damage. Activating our hyper once again. We clear the bullets. Deal some heavy damage. Oh, any bomb, we did get the all break there, awesome. Any bomb that clears enemy bullets will turn those bullets into hearts, a great way to recover additional health, provided you're in a mode that allows that. Our bombs or specials do charge up in the bottom left of the screen there, just as a heads up. So now that we're finished with stage 1, we're going to move on to stage 2. But this time we're using the arms familiar. So this one, in its own way, is high risk, high reward, and I really have fun with this one. So there is no way to hold down the button for fire. If you want the normal shot, you have to tap fire. It is, if you hold it down, it'll just last for a while and that's it. But the shot itself, while not necessarily strong, has some really great coverage. But the strength of the arm is when you use it in basically with your the power shot mode. When you're in slow movement, it goes from being an actual shot to being this powerful punch that clears enemy bullets. It can be tricky because it can only punch so fast, but the punch itself is very powerful and erases enemy bullets. Really great for an enemy punching that tank in the face and all breaking it. And even that itself has some really neat abilities. If we all break the tank boss, it actually sets up us on an alternate path through the stage. That's right, in addition to having all these familiars, all those bombs, the game has multiple paths you can take through the stages. Something that's really awesome. But rather than take that path, let's take a quick moment to swap familiars. And now we're back with the somewhat tricky to use flower familiar. So the flower, when you're in your normal shot, works pretty normal. It's just basically an additional option that fires a relatively high-powered stream at the enemies. But when you use it with your power shot, it becomes something wholly different. So now, instead of firing constantly, it charges up, and that charged ball in front of you will absorb enemy bullets, which can be really powerful. You do have to be careful. It's still easy to take damage from the enemies, but when you release that charge, it fires a powerful shot forward that can deal some pretty heavy damage. Unfortunately, that means you're not firing as many shots, and for the enemy bullets that do absorb shots, the orange bullets, that can be problematic. Some of the familiars also do react off of the orange bullets as well. The bat and the rat both have, in their power shot mode, do have these shields that not necessarily make you invulnerable to the enemy orange bullets, but will make them clear significantly easier. In addition to swapping to the flower, I also am currently using the doll special. The doll special is really great since it pops down this turret that, in addition to dealing damage, also will block enemy bullets. So you can kind of place it right in front of the enemy to both get some pretty hefty damage as well as some good defense. And the boss fights really are something special in this one. They're all like different. In fact, all the stages kind of have some unique enemies and just a great feel to them that really does make this game stand out, especially for the really awesome price point. Talking about some of the things I don't like, the minus flavors. So the game itself would benefit from having online leaderboards, but with as much replayability as there is here and ways to play through the game, I don't think it's like as damning as it would be to some other shoot 'em ups. But one thing I do find a little bit of frustration with is the translation for the abilities of the familiars and your specials is not good, and the manual itself, while serviceable, doesn't do that great of a job either. There also happens to be no button customization, which I would have really appreciated, as there's the default control scheme works fine, but I would have liked to have customized it just a little bit more to my personal playstyle. So this boss is just about down. And for the third stage, we'll finish things off with the dragon familiar, which I just think looks so adorably cute when you can see it among the hell of bullets that are falling upon us. So the dragon has this awesome piercing shot, which deals quite a bit of damage to the enemies. And in addition to that, when you activate your slow movement, it pins the dragon to a certain area, so you can kind of use it to defend a certain part of the screen, or pin it inside an enemy so you can deal massive damage every single time it fires. But as far as the plus flavors are concerned, so the variety, all the familiars, you start with 3 of them, and then as you play through the game, you unlock them per stage. As well as kind of the same thing goes for the bombs as well. I just love how much customization and just like the variety that's present there in the unlockables, as well as the various play styles, the way that you can practice certain sections of the game. It just provides a lot of gameplay for a good price point. And then there's the cute 'em up element as well. The game has a really great cute 'em up pixel art aesthetic. I love the color palette, although you don't see much of your protagonist from the top. I love the way that all the various familiars look, and each stage has unique enemies that have certain feels to them. I just really appreciate the whole package. So this is definitely a title I can heartily recommend. Alright, that's there it is. Barrage Fantasia served up for your enjoyment. That'll just about wrap up this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining me this week, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.